We're back after the holidays. Carly, I missed you. I feel like
I miss
there's
you.
so much to talk about.
I know. Well, we were literally just talking, y'all, about how we went from talking at least obviously once a week to do this, but just like texting and chatting and all the things to like not radio silence, but just obviously not doing that as frequently. And I was like, I need to talk to Monica. Like, there's so much happening. We need to discuss everything that's going on.
I was going back through our DMs and texts from the last 2 weeks, and I was just like, every day it felt like, "Oh my god, we need to talk about this." And then the next day it's like, "Oh, we need to talk about this." So many thoughts about the transfer portal, first of all, but we I have to ask how the Ohio State game was.
Okay, so we went to the game and we also went to the Cotton Bowl last year. And let me tell you, two very different experiences.
Oh.
One, well, last year, first of all, it was just kind of crazy because that was the week that it snowed really crazy in Dallas. And then everyone was like, is the Cotton Bowl even going to happen? Like, what are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And it ended up happening. And obviously, it was great. Ohio State won. It was fabulous. We had a great time. It was so much fun. There was honestly not obviously as many Ohio State people there as Texas people there because it was in Texas, but there was still a lot of Ohio State people there and it was great. I feel like it was very evenly matched and all of that. This year, it was so crazy. The first either like really good play Miami had or their first score they had, it was so loud, and we were like, "This is so bizarre," because low-key Miami kinda has, like, some fake fans, like, they don't have,
Right.
like, that
Yeah.
big of a fan base, and they just, like
Not that big of a
some
school,
people
right?
show up for right, and it's just, like, a lot of people talk about Miami, but no one ever really shows up to, like, support Miami. And Ohio State has a huge alumni base, and there were so many Ohio State people, but the Miami people were so loud, and we were just like, "This is going to be such a long game," and it was. It was brutal. It just felt like we were getting bullied the whole time, and I was like, "This is so bad."
My
But
god.
happy for
It's
Miami, I
wild.
guess. Good for
That's not
them.
that's not usually the Ohio State experience.
Not at all, and it's definitely not my Ohio State experience because I obviously jumped on the bandwagon after I got married, and so since I got married, they've obviously been pretty good ever since, and so seeing them play like this, which granted they did score, which is more than a lot of other teams could say, so I'm
Yes.
happy they actually scored during the game, but even still, I was just like, "This is crazy," like, I could not believe what was happening before my eyes.
How did Griffin take it?
You know, better than I thought he
Okay, good.
would, and I think it softened the blow a little bit just because we beat Michigan this year, like, that's all he really cared about this year. Dude, did he think we should have won that game? Absolutely. Did he think that this was, just, like, a really bad way that it played out? Absolutely. However, the fact that we beat Michigan was, like, the
Yeah.
one driving force for his entire 2025 calendar year, and so, as long as we checked that off the box, then he was totally fine, so but his mom's really into college football, which I think is so fun. They always go to a game together and stuff, and his
Oh,
mom is always like, "Well, you signed up to be a lifer, and that's just what happens, like,
yeah.
you can't win them all." And so, I think that puts it into perspective for him a lot.
Did they have most of their starters and all that playing?
I think so. But it was
Yeah.
so
Okay.
funny, though, I actually met a girl in the bathroom at the game, and her brother plays for the team and he's like a defensive tackle or something. And she was like, he was telling me over Christmas break that it's really, really hard, even though they practice and they play and all of that stuff. He was like, it's really hard just to get back into the swing of getting hit again. That's like the biggest
Oh,
toll it takes on them. Yeah. And so she was like, I was really nervous whenever he was saying that. And now they're playing like this because he just emphasized that it's not the fact that they're underprepared or they don't know what plays are they're going to make or any of that stuff. It's just playing the real life game and like taking those blows like play after play is the hardest thing to get back into. And I was like, well, that checks out.
That makes sense because I always thought the 2 scenarios with bowl games were basically, like, the people leaving for the transfer portal, and so they're not gonna play. The people who wanna go into the draft and don't wanna get hurt also end up not playing. And then I had one more scenario, and I don't remember, but I didn't think about the holiday break piece of it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that does kind of, like, create all these different scenarios. And then I guess, like
Well, and then
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, which is something we can dive deeper into also with, like, the transfer portal and everything like that, but the top for the past 2 years, so the 2 years they've been doing the playoff structure this way, the top 4 seeds in each year are what is it? 0 and 5 or 1 and 5? I can't remember the stats on it. Or 0 and sorry, 1 and 7. That would be 8. Duh. It's clearly my first day back. They're 1 and 7. And so for everyone that basically had a bye week, so all the top 4 seeds for both years, only one of those teams has won and gone on to the next round of the playoffs, and that has been Indiana this year.
Interesting.
Yeah, because every other team has had to play, and the teams that have had to play
Oh,
have been the ones to move on.
interesting. Are people are people like, "Well, this is just what's always gonna happen if that's the team that you or that's how your schedule plays out?" Like
I think people are kind of like, well, the playoff structure obviously needs to change.
right? Because 'cause I'm like
Like, there should not be that much time in between games if the stats are lining up with everyone that had to take multiple weeks off,
exactly,
except for
I'm like,
one team,
now you
has
basically
lost, like
yeah, now you've basically shown what that schedule creates.
Mhm.
That's so interesting. Okay, also, speaking of schedules, this confused me too. I didn't realize that with how the transfer portal is set up now, if you do that, you s- you're not starting at the new school in the summer, you're starting mid-semester spring.
What?
Yeah, because of the way that they changed that piece of it. So it's like which then also goes to like coaches if they make it through the playoffs. I think Ole Miss this is like the big talk because a lot of coaches said that they're going to go with Lane and like the coaches are like if we're in the playoffs and we're going to go to the national championship game that takes you into the spring semester already. So then
Right.
they're also moving schools mid-semester. This is a tangent from what from like the bi-week schedules and all that, but it's just making me think about like how this is just getting dragged out further and further into the next year.
We have got to cut it off at some point. Like, it's just taking far too long for a college football season that needs to be so short and condensed.
Because it's on the 18th, January 18th, the national championship game.
Mhm.
And
Which is
you would
let's see.
argue that only affects two teams, but it also affects everyone else who doesn't know yet if they will be there on the 18th. That's basically February.
The the final week of the regular season college football games was December 6th, December 5th and 6th. That is 6 weeks after the regular season ends to play 3 rounds
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
or 4,
Because it's
4
just
rounds.
domino
Either
effecting. It
way,
affects everything else too.
yeah. That's so long. Something has got to change.
truly. But it's like, then you have all this money. They have to, they need all the ad dollars they can get at this point because now there's so much money that has to go being paid into everything else. And this is the like 100th topic that that was like, we need to talk about this too, is all this private equity craziness and how a private
Mhm.
equity company is now running Utah's athletic department essentially. Then another private equity, two private equity companies are going in on the Big 12, which so that's like the entire conference. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like private equity's goal is to just make money and
Right.
humans are assets. They're not
Right.
humans.
Right.
So if their goal is to just make money, then it's their in best interest to make college football season year round.
Please. Please don't do it.
I mean, why wouldn't
Please
they?
don't do it. I'm like, I cannot handle it.
No. It's getting so messy. And I think these last
Well,
2 weeks have shown how messy that this is just the beginning of messy.
yeah. I don't remember what stat it was that you sent me, but I think it was about UNT that they quite literally had their best season of like university history or something. And
Mhm.
over half the team has entered into the transfer portal.
Yeah. And multiple teams. I had this up. Let me pull it back up. Um, it's like 4,500 people have gone into the transfer portal. Hold on, where's your thing? And 20 to 30% will not have a team to go to because so many people entered the transfer portal. Um, and then I saw another coach talk about, and um, I don't think it was a junior college, but he's like a coach at a smaller school. And
Mhm.
he was saying how like half his team has decided to go into the transfer portal. And he's like, what these kids don't understand is that they're not going to be the ones getting paid millions of dollars. And they're especially not even going to be getting playing time. But but they're getting caught up in the whole vortex of it. And they're the
Yeah.
kids that they need the college degrees to be able to do something
Yeah.
after. And because everyone's saying you just got to do that, that they're all just getting caught up in the whole thing. Okay, here it is. 4,500 Division One players have entered the portal, which is 1/3 of all D1 players. The
Oh
numbers
my
say
gosh.
30 to 40% will not find a new team.
That's
That's bad.
crazy. That's bad. Okay, so once you enter the transfer portal, do you have to move schools or could you like go back with your tail between your legs to the other school?
I don't think you can. Or, I mean, or maybe you can, but you just burned a bridge and like they already
Yeah,
filled your spot. They probably already filled your spot, especially
for
if you
real.
made a
Okay, let's
fuss
ask
about
chat.
it on Twitter and being like,
Oh my gosh.
you know, how they get all
These
see
one
and
no,
dramatic.
one thing they need to like put their money in is not like the newest streetwear. It's a PR team. You
Yes,
all need to be media trained.
truly,
Like,
truly. Like
okay,
there, it's, this is more dramatic than like housewives drama. It's just the
no,
things that they
literally.
say. I'm just like, you are burning every bridge under the sun with no guarantee of what's going to happen next for you. And this is just like, I don't know. I was getting so frustrated watching the games last weekend. What games did I watch? Georgia, Ole Miss. What else did I watch? I don't know. But I was just getting mad because of all the transfer portal stuff. And then like because they would like mention
Mhm.
things like side commentary as if like it's oh, I know what it was. This I went on like a solid 5-minute rant to Connor about this during the Indiana game. because they were talking about how the quarterback, I'm blanking on his name, how he did most of his classes, if not all of his classes, online so that he can be best prepared for football. And that, like, being able to do everything online makes it so he can be the best quarterback. And I like wanted to just throw something at the TV because I was like, I get that this is a business, that this is money, blah, blah, blah. But at that point, if we're going to give accolades to someone who chooses to get to do online courses exclusively, why have athletes do a curriculum anyway? Why give them like
Well,
degree?
and
Like at that
right, and why have
why
all the rules and regulations?
yeah. Like if we're gonna just say, because the argument, I know everyone comes back with the same argument, well, because he has to focus and like he's getting paid millions of dollars. So I'm like, fine, then like let's stop pretending like we're going to school and just like
Right,
create a minor league football team. I don't know.
right. I mean, that's actually a good point. Like, why isn't, because this is technically the minor league football team,
Yeah.
but like
So
baseball has a minor league.
and
Why don't
like
we just make one of those?
exactly, and then we don't have to bother with school. And
Right.
then everyone can find out what happens after that when you have these giant football teams of people who don't even get into the NFL being like,
Right.
oh, oh, the other thing I want to talk to you about, y'all, there's just so much. The headlines, everything you see are just like all these millions of dollars of number that are getting played. But if you are someone who plays 6 minutes of a game, how much are you getting paid? You're not a starter making millions of.
$50. You're
You're
not getting
just
paid
like the
anything.
average person who will get a degree, work at a bank one day and be like, "Oh yeah, I used to play for Michigan. That was a fun time in my life." How much are they getting paid? Because that's the dollar amounts that I want to know because this is all very concerning if we're acting like
Yeah.
all 60 players are getting paid millions of
Right.
dollars. Maybe they
Yeah.
are. I don't know, but I
I don't know. I did look it up though. This is like totally tangential, but before I forget, I did look up the transfer portal situation,
oh yeah.
and chat told me that you do not have to leave your school just because you enter in the transfer portal.
Oh,
However, once you enter in the portal, you basically forfeit your scholarship and your spot. So your coach does not have to give you your scholarship and he does not have to hold your spot. So you can return with no penalty, but that's only if they still have your scholarship and your spot open.
and most of these kids need that scholarship. Even if it's just
Well, and with
they need the scholarship.
right, and with 1/3 of all the college football players entering in the transfer portal, who's to say that your spot isn't gonna get swept up like that?
Exactly. It's a buyer's market, seller's market. What like the teams, they have so many people to choose from.
Right.
And it's almost easier. Well, I don't know. This would be an interesting question. Easier than recruiting from high school because now you at least know how a kid can handle college play.
Yeah. But then at
Also,
that point, do you, like, overlook them because say a junior enters in the he probably wouldn't though.
yeah.
I don't know who's entering in the transfer portal. But if a sophomore or junior enters in the transfer portal, are you as a coach gonna invest in that one? Or are you gonna look at the upcoming freshman and be like, well, we could have this one for 4 years versus you
But
for maybe another year?
that's the crazy thing is they can't sign contracts. So I think right? So I think
Oh yeah.
coaches now have to operate as if people are only going to stay once a year. And then if they don't get the millions of dollars, even if even if they're a starter, if they're like, "Oh, this school hit their cap, so they can't pay me 5 million, they can only pay me 4 million. I hear this school might be willing to pay me 10 million, so I'm just going to go there."
Do you think these boys, because that's what they are, they're just a bunch of boys, are thinking about or have people that have surrounded them and that are thinking about, you could go, let's say there was someone on the, I don't know, Alabama football team, and let's do Alabama and TCU. This person could stay at Alabama, play a little bit less, but Alabama's historically a great team. They have a great coaching staff, even with all the drama with Caleb DeBoer, whatever his name is. Historically, always great. You know it's going to be a great program no matter what. You could stay at Alabama, maybe play a little bit less, make a little bit less money, but have a better chance because when the NFL looks at the roster, they're going to say, well, he played at Alabama. Or are they thinking, well, if I just go to TCU right now, I'll make double the money, but would that hinder them in like the NFL draft? Do you think they're thinking about that? Is that even a real thing?
I think your prefrontal cortex is developed. And so that's a starter. But I mean, I don't think they're thinking about it. I think it's so short-sighted because I saw the University of Texas coach. He was talking about how in college football, you don't have to have a certification to be an agent. So these kids are having like their freshman roommate be their agent, and they're throwing out all these crazy numbers and saying all these crazy things that the athletic departments don't even know how to have conversations. They're like, it's the biggest like waste of time to have some of these conversations because it's so absurd.
This is just a
Imagine
gigantic cluster.
a freshman roommate, even a junior roommate, whatever, who doesn't play the sport. So they only know so much, right? Like they're the buddy on the sidelines who now see their friend who you're hoping they have the best intentions for their friend, but we don't know. We've all seen how all this stuff goes down time after time in the NFL when families and friends try to take advantage. And now they know they're going to get a cut and have no business skills. Like, can you imagine being a grown adult having to have some of these conversations?
No, it's a freaking joke. I wouldn't even have those conversations. Like and I'm 26.
Yeah.
Like I'm not an agent. If someone walked up to me and they were like, "Can you negotiate this contract for me?" I'd be like, "No, hire a professional."
Exactly.
Like there's people that get paid plenty of money to do this and they're good at their job, which is why they get paid plenty of money.
Yep.
That's like, it just makes me think about, I don't know if you watched, there was like a period of time where I was really into like sports documentaries and like the docuseries and all that stuff coming out on Netflix and everything. And I watched the Johnny Manziel one, and it has stuck with me in like such an odd way because I think about whenever we talk about stuff like this, I just think about one, how insane he would have been in the NIL. Like he would have gone crazy. Yeah. But two, like same honestly, situation, it was also
or no, just like thank God that wasn't the case. I'm scared to even like think about what that would have been like.
No, insane. Like the amount of jerseys they were selling with his name on it.
Yeah.
Unheard of. Unheard of in all of college football.
Yeah. But and he didn't get any dollar for those jerseys.
Not a single dollar, which is insane. But also, it was his roommate or his best friend at the time who was taking him to Vegas and doing all of those things like under the table, like signing autographs and stuff like that. And I'm like, that is where these people are getting it from. Like that is who thinks that their freshman year roommate or their sophomore year roommate should be negotiating deals for them. And I'm like, this is not the way the world works. Like we have to stop.
No, oh my gosh. It's just, and what they don't realize is that they're hurting their case in so many ways. Because let's say realistically, let's say what makes most sense for you is a $1 million contract. But because like you're really likable and respected and all these things, and they really, really want you. Like, best case scenario is you get 2.5. But you have a friend here coming in and saying that you are going to take 10 million or walk away, and then you walk away and then go to the next place and say the same thing. And now all of a sudden you set up a situation where no school wants to work with your friend. Your friend's going to end up on like a random team that will then finally be like, okay, here's 1 million. And like
Yeah.
when you could have gotten the 2.5 for just like having self awareness.
Right. Well, I just think about, and I guess it's just because also the industry we work in, we talk about this a lot and how, I mean, even our industry is so unregulated like this. Nobody knows what anybody is making. Like, you're kind of just making up these numbers and hoping something sticks. But it's also like, you have to be so socially aware to be like, oh, of course, I'm not going to make as much money as, at least for our industry. Like, if someone has 5 million followers on TikTok and they want to work with the same brand as someone who has like $500,000 and they're demanding the same price, it's like you have to know, unfortunately, what you're worth. And it's, at least when it comes to the job perspective, I think everyone is worth price. I think everyone is priceless. But when, at least when it comes to the job perspective, you should know that like your work is not worth as much as someone who has 5 million followers, because you have not grown that much. You have not shown that you can make those sales. You can bring that brand awareness. You can do all of those things. And so we talk a lot, you and I do, about how it's so hard for people to understand that like they just see a blanket number and they're like, well, I saw so-and-so get paid this number. This is what I deserve too. But it's like, you have to be able to prove your worth. Same thing for these kids. You have to be able to prove what you're worth to these schools, because they are not dumb. They are not 18 years old. They're not going to pay you a bunch of money and just be like, I hope they turn out pretty good, you know?
Exactly. You know who's gonna make out like a bandit with all this? Is the companies that are doing insurance for these contracts.
Yeah,
Because
that's so true.
like all these schools having to buy all this insurance in case like a player gets hurt
Hmm.
or does decide to does something stupid. I don't know. Them and the private equity people. They're
Apparently.
Can you imagine how expensive Utah tickets and concessions and all of that's gonna be now? Connor
No,
was
it's going
saying
to be
how
insane.
he was like, I wonder if they would do something at concessions where depending on the time of the game, the food prices would like fluctuate. You know how like grocery stores are testing this out where like they're changing the prices for the shopper? And I was like, oh, they're for sure gonna do that. Why wouldn't they
That's
do
hilarious. Yeah, of course they're going to do that. I actually just saw something, this is like kind of tangential, but the owner of this like popped up on my explore page. The owner of Sprinkles, like first cupcake bakery ever, like historic, whatever. She Sprinkles is closing their doors, like they are shutting down as a business. And she was like, this makes me so sad. Like, I'm so upset, blah, blah, blah. And everyone was like, well, yeah, babe, you sold to private equity. What did you think was going to happen?
like we
Like,
all know. We know how we
yeah.
see they have one job. Why is the housing market the way it is? Oh, remember when all the private equity firms were buying every house that was for sale because they had just like um they could pay $600,000 on a $300,000 house and they would do it? Like, why are we acting surprised?
Mm-hmm. This is so bad. This is so bad.
We're so cooked. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And I don't know, even with like the influencers industry, I saw something that said that I don't know, I think it's Instagram, I don't know who. Someone's rolling out a feature for 2026 where brands can have AI create comments to their posts to create engagement. And like this is like internally, I think it's like Instagram is creating this as a feature for brands to use. right? So
What?
now what?
That's so bad.
Yeah. And then yeah, so like apparently it does. I'll send you the thing when I find it, but it literally will write the comments for you and coming from a different, like a bot account essentially. I guess like they're fine with bots as long as it's their own bots.
This is
Like,
insane. How did we get here?
and then Instagram also is talking about, so you know how right now for like AI generated content, you have to like flag it and there's like a tag. So now they're saying
Mhm.
actually real content is what's going to be need to be tagged because they're expecting so much AI.
Oh my gosh.
And I
That's
feel like
so
such
bad.
a boomer being like, this is like, how can we let this happen? Blah, blah, blah. But I'm just like, and all these AI influencers who, for 90% of a video, do look real until you see like their thumbs fall off their hands while moving. Like,
Yeah.
people are making so much money off these fake influencers because brands are
Mhm.
partnering, which I think is, to me, is actually what makes me the most mad. Like, I get if like you were making like affiliate or whatever, but it makes me mad that brands are like, yeah, I'll pay you for a
Well, it
partnership.
just feels like there's no yeah, it feels like there's no integrity in it
No,
anymore.
everyone's just trying to make a quick buck. And I know
Mhm.
that's true since the beginning of time, and this is just a new format. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the influencer space changes this next year. I
Mhm.
saw, so the person who was talking about the comments, they were saying that their recommendation is to start sending your audience voice notes and doing lives because that's going to be what differentiates you because AI can create all the fake comments in the world, but what they can't do is DM a follower with a voice note.
That's
So,
crazy. That is crazy.
yeah.
Oh gosh, how did we get here?
I don't know how he got here. Okay. The there's again, there's still so many things to talk about, but last thing, Tulsa's reality show that they're doing on like YouTube. I sent it to you.
Mhm.
And basically, it's like a house and it's called the Portal House. It's called the Portal House. And I hate everything about this.
I didn't wanna say anything. We talked briefly about it just, like, on in our messages and stuff, but I was like, "This is insane." Right? Because in my head, I was like whenever you first sent it to me, I was like, this is not real. This is just a joke, like, they did not actually set this up." No, it's real.
Yeah. No. It's it's insane what schools are what's now considered a school sanctioned event. When we were in school, I feel like administrations would be like,
Yeah,
this seems like a liability.
100%.
But yeah, it's like the house has a pool and it's like all decked out. It's set up to fully be a messy reality show.
Yeah, well,
And I'm
it's
sure
just like,
that
was it
they're pretending like it's actually gonna be great, but like they literally, I don't know. It's gonna make the money. Like,
I just cannot believe they're doing
yes.
this. And yeah, again, I cannot believe the school was like 100%. You guys go forth and conquer.
Yeah. I do think that it's like a setup in a way. Do you think maybe like it's actually not going to be what we think it is in terms of how chaotic it could be. And they're just kind of using it as a set in a way. How do I explain it? Like, they're like, they have like set up times and they're just like, okay, like, let's like do team bonding. And it's like a productive and you know what I mean? Where it's like,
Honestly, well,
kinda
yeah,
like
but that would
it, like,
honestly,
the school
yeah,
signs off on. Like they
that
already
would
saw
make
the
more sense to me.
script and everything, and, like, they've approved the script. It's not like side conversations people are having.
That would be the only way that would make sense in my head. Because
It
any
has
other way you look at it, you're like, "This is a joke."
because 'cause I'm picturing, like, Summer House in college
Yeah,
football.
yes, that's what I was thinking of.
I'm like,
Yeah,
"Ugh."
yeah. Bad idea. Bad all around.
But someone is gonna take this, and then they're gonna try to create a messy version, if this isn't a messy version. And
Oh, yeah.
that's make bank because people are going, and it's gonna be a thing. This is what I predict. My prediction for 2026. Someone creates a messy version of that. Players go to transfer to that school to try to get on because they just want to get on that show. And halfway through, they quit the football team because they're just like invested in this like reality show TV famous moment. Like the girls who go through Bama Rush, halfway through Rush, drop out because now they have 2 million followers. And I was like, I don't need to go through Rush anymore. And I don't even need to be at school anymore. That's my 2026 prediction.
Honestly, you're probably not off with that. That's probably spot on.
I should sell the rights to my idea. Copyright by me. I just created this concept. Whoever is interested, let's talk. I'm unemployed. I, I
Call me.
I hate this concept so much, but I have 2 dogs that need to be fed.
But I do know what's gonna make $1.
There's a
Oh my
time and a
gosh.
place for morals and values, and it's a sliding scale.
Mhm. Yep, I 100% agree.
Okay, is there anything else that you wanted to make sure to cover? I think we're just gonna have to two-part this and next week keep talking about everything that happened.
Yeah, I agree. I do wanna know your predictions, though, for who's gonna win the college football national championship, and who do you think you're gonna see in the Super Bowl? I
Okay.
know Super Bowl's a long way away, but we're already talking about championships, so let's go ahead and knock this one out, and we'll see how well we do.
I think it's gonna be Indiana who wins the national championship, even though I kind of want it to be Ole Miss. Or did it Ole Miss get out? I watched the Ole
No, they're
Miss.
in it.
Okay, yeah. I was like, wait, I went to sleep and don't remember. Okay. I think Indiana's gonna win. And for the Super Bowl, I feel like everyone who I thought could be a contender is not in the playoffs. This is such a weird year. I don't know. What
Yeah.
are you?
I think the championship game is gonna be Ole Miss, Indiana, and I think Indiana's gonna win. And you know what? I'm happy for Ole Miss and Indiana. I'm happy for them, and I will be glad if either of them
I'm
wins
annoyed
it.
at Indiana because they took our quarterback, Josh Hoover,
Oh,
when
yeah, that'll do it. I
so
understand that.
I never thought I would cheer for an SEC school, but I kind of want Ole Miss.
Um,
But anyway,
I think Indiana is if Indiana wins, I'll be happy because they really did come from nothing to get here,
yeah.
and I will also be just happy's not the right word, but I will feel a little bit of joy if Ole Miss wins just because of the chaos they have gone through this season, and I think that would be absolutely hilarious, is that,
No, I want that. I know.
like, Yeah, like, and being Lane Kiffin after Ole Miss wins a national championship, I think would just be absolutely insane.
Agree. Agree.
For the NFL, I honestly have no idea. I think it would be on par to see, like, at least the 49ers in the Super Bowl. That's kind of, like,
I
the
don't know.
only
I
one
think it's
that
gonna be
stands. I think it's
yeah.
they'll probably be in it. I don't know who all like, just like you, all the other ones that I thought were probably gonna be in it or, like, kind of kept up with this season, I'm like, "Well, they're gone."
Yeah, I think the 49ers are gonna win the Super Bowl. I think they're I mean, they go to the Super Bowl a lot, don't they? Like, they
Often.
they
I
played
think
against
so.
the Chiefs a few times,
Mhm.
maybe 2 times. I don't know. But I feel like
But still.
like, they're it's their time to kinda replace the Chiefs with it.
Yeah, I'm fine
Uh,
with that.
yeah, me too. Adriana's cousin plays for the 49ers.
Oh my gosh, what the heck?
Yeah, so she's a huge 49ers fan.
That's so fun.
I know, I know. She needs to go to a game. But anyway, okay. Sure, there's gonna be more next week as everything just keeps getting weirder and weirder, but we
Yep.
will keep y'all updated.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye.